Christian parenting.
Well, what I said before is that they know that they are a part of a plan. Just because you're adopted or you look different doesn't matter. That this what there is purpose for you, and that Jesus has always had a plan for your life.
Hey, families, welcome back to the Call to Love podcast. I am so honored that you have chosen to spend the next few moments with us. Each week, we bring you the practical, the clinical, and always, most importantly, the biblical aspects of the adoption and foster care callings. Parents, today's episode is a great one to sit down and listen with your kids. I am so honored to welcome my guest, Emmanuel Jean Russle. He's the son of the best-selling author Karen Kingsbury. He's joining us on the podcast today to share his story of adoption, how the Lord has met him along the way. He's going to share some insights about identity, belonging, and the most important thing for kids to understand about adoption. I'm so excited for this conversation. Emmanuel, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It is such a pleasure. I'm just so excited to dive into your story. You've got a new book coming out. We are launching this episode a week before launch date. So friends, I want you to listen to Emmanuel's story, and then I want you to get on and pre-order this book for your kids. You're going to love it. It's coming out a week from today. The book is called Hello, My Name is Emmanuel, and it is a beautifully written and illustrated book for kids sharing Emmanuel's personal story. So let's introduce you, Emmanuel, to our listeners. Tell us who you are and a little bit of your story.
Yes, so hello, my name is Emmanuel, and thank you for having me on here. And yes, so in 2001, I lived with my grandma in Haiti, and she had a dream that I would get adopted. And so her dream came true in 2001,
Wow.
and I took a airplane flight from Haiti all the way to Washington State. So very different weather, but yes, and I still remember that day when we landed. It was kind of a misty northwest rain and a little colder.
Yeah. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit, yes.
Emmanuel, with the difference in the weather and the family that you were with, tell us a little bit going back of just what it was like, life as a young boy in Haiti and living with your grandmother.
Yeah, so basically, what's cool about this book is Haiti is actually a beautiful country. Yes, it's one of the poorest, but when you're born into like that surrounding, you don't know any better. So like in
Right.
this story with my grandma, we're having like I even say I wish these days could last forever. Even though when storms came, we could feel the wind. I can still remember the raindrops hitting my face in our hut that we had, and so it's but I wasn't like overly scared once I had my grandma with me. And
Mhm.
so I guess it just depends. You don't always know like, oh, this is a poor country if you're born into it. So
Right.
there's beautiful parts about Haiti, and that's kind of what I wanted people to get at also in this book.
No, I think that's important. And it just allows us to appreciate all the more just those early years of your story. And I've got to ask you, what did you think about America? What was your idea about America before you got here?
Oh, oh yes. Well, so I got to see a few movies once in a while. Somebody would like give us a TV, like the orphanage, and so I knew some actual English, like some slang. That's
Okay.
about it. But but it's I just thought like big movies, obviously, and then when I came here though, we would have like 10 burgers. Like we would go to McDonald's and because we didn't, the food here, you just want to eat more and more. It does that to you. So,
Right.
but, yes, I just remember the food here it was really, really good, but it's
Mhm.
addicting. So,
Yeah, that's true. That's a whole
yes,
other episode, right?
it is. But yes.
So, what was it like as you were, adjusting to just a new life altogether and you're writing this story down for kids to read, you're welcoming people into a very vulnerable story. What was that like for
hmm
you to share such a personal part of your story through this writing process?
Well, I just wanted, especially nowadays, kids sometimes don't know what their purpose or if there's a
Yeah.
plan for them. And so to me, this story it doesn't matter where you come from, Haiti, Africa, America, it doesn't matter. You need to know that there's purpose and that there's a plan for your life.
Yeah.
And so, yes.
That's so, so good. I love that. We need that reminder all the time, and especially
hmm
for parents of adopted children, we're wanting to pour that truth into them. But to hear it from you, I think there's so much value to that. Emmanuel, since you were adopted at a young age, I mean, you have memories of your
Oh, yes.
biological family and your story there in Haiti. How has adoption impacted you in your journey?
How, well, So it's kind of interesting because I lived with my grandma. So my parents passed away, and I don't know what happened to my dad, but my
Okay.
grandma gave me the name Emmanuel, which many people know that means God with us. And
Yeah.
so it actually gives me hope that I will see my grandma again and maybe my mom if she gave me that name. And
Yeah.
so, yes,
That's amazing. Do you have any ongoing contact with your biological family?
I do not know. I was an only child.
Okay. Okay.
hmm
That's amazing. So tell me a little bit about how old were you when you were adopted and came
I
to
was
Washington State?
I was around 5.
Around 5. Okay.
hmm
So what was that adjustment period like for you, having memories of your biological family and then adjusting to your adopted family?
Well, I had to learn English, so we got adopted in the spring of 2001, and school in the Northwest starts in September. And so
Okay.
when we came over, we had to quickly like do an intensive English class,
Wow.
which that made me actually kind of forget Creole, which is what the language is. And so I'm fluent just fully in English now. But
Yeah.
yes, but it was hard, but also it was we knew like this was the like that was my grandma's dream. So
That's amazing. Do you mind sharing maybe just some of those hard moments of adjustment, maybe ways that your family comforted you or just helped you to feel a sense of belonging in your new family?
well, yes. So in Haiti, we didn't get bedtime stories. Those I always got those with my mom, and
Mm,
that's kind of why, because there were kids' books, so like Dr. Seuss. So
yeah.
I kind of wanted it to be like that, where it kind of brings families together for bedtime stories, and so that's what I liked the most when I was like coming from America, and then just sports. We played football, soccer, movies. I watched The Jungle Book. That was one of the first ones.
I
So
love that one.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's so good. So I'm hearing you say quality time really made a
Yes.
difference for you. Do you have any other advice for our adoptive families who might be in that stage of they've just welcomed a child into their home, or they might be waiting and it's soon to come that they are welcoming a child from another country in their home? What advice would you give them?
Yes. Well, first, every child's different. So I was a little bit more shy, but but the more I hung out with you, the more I poured myself into you. So, but I would just like show them the kids love movies, toys, um, but I guess, don't let them know that they are different. Just act like this was like natural from the beginning.
Mm. Hey, Call to Love families. You want to raise your kids to know, love, and follow Jesus, but let's be honest. Parenting with faith in today's world can feel overwhelming. And the Call to Love podcast is a part of the Christian Parenting Podcast Network. And I am so grateful to be a part of this family because Christian parenting exists to equip you with the practical tools, encouragement, and biblical wisdom you need to lead your kids in faith confidently. That's why you won't want to miss Christian Parenting's Friday Favorites newsletter. Each week, you will be sent quick, practical parenting tips, faith building resources, and encouragement straight to your inbox so you never feel alone on this journey. And here's something special for just podcast listeners. When you sign up today, Christian Parenting will send you a free copy of the Discipleship Simplified digital guide. It's packed with easy to use resources, conversation starters, and scripts to help you confidently answer your kids' tough faith questions. Don't miss out. Subscribe now at cppodcast.org to get the Friday Favorites newsletter and your free Discipleship Simplified guide. That's cppodcast.org, or just click the link in today's show notes. That's really good advice, Emmanuel. I think sometimes on my side of things, and you kind of hear the experts, and I'm using quotations, listeners, if you're not watching on YouTube, the experts are divided on that of
hmm
how, and so sometimes us as adoptive parents, we walk on eggshells because we're so afraid to do something wrong,
hmm
because we've loved you from the moment that the Lord placed you on our hearts, just like biological children. And so for us, and I can say this for my daughter, and she looks nothing like me, I
Yes.
get that I did not give birth to her, but sometimes that is frowned upon. Do you want to
Mm.
speak to that a little bit?
Well, the way I think about it is like, yes, I can sometimes go into that area where I notice like I'm a different color than them, but I don't let myself live in there because I think that's from the enemy to
Yeah,
live there. And
yeah.
so there's a lot of similarities. There's actually more than differences. And so that's why if like obviously I've thought of it like I don't look anything like them, but I don't live in that area.
Yeah. So it's a conscious choice that you've made.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That is, I think that's really, really helpful for our kids because our goal as families is just to thrive together. And
Yes.
ultimately, and I think something, and I want to invite you to speak into this too, is the Lord places families together.
Mm-hmm.
And for various reasons, and it's all a part of his perfect plan. But you're right, the enemy does infiltrate, and I think he accuses and he makes everybody feel uncomfortable, like, oh, there's something
Yes.
I should be upset about. And yes, there is grief, and yes, there's trauma related to an original family not being able to be together, but there's also the goodness of God that adoptive families can come together. What would you say to
Mm-hmm.
all of that, Emmanuel?
Well, what I would say is you just gotta first you gotta pray before you do it because it is a big step,
Yeah.
and not everybody's called to adopt, but there's ways you can give without even adopting because that's a big, big step.
Yeah.
And so, if there is any like where hesitations, just give to these organizations
Yeah.
that help with orphanages. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, basically it's different for every child, so there's not a perfect answer for that.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. And I think that's the important thing is knowing your child and taking the
Hmm.
time. I love you talking about quality time. And what you're talking about is very simple. Just welcoming children into the rhythms of life that
Yes.
you've already established. And however, they've come from other rhythms. And so how can we still honor the culture and the heritage and the family of origin as adoptive families and to help the child feel that that part of their story is not over. It's just adding to a new part of their story.
Mm. Yes, so like I said, when I watched Jungle Book, I was like, I kind of was Mowgli
Yeah,
in Haiti. So like it was like a jungle to me, it felt like. So
sure.
that kind of took me back. And then just, you can have like the food, that Haitian food if you want, which I don't have anymore. I'm like, I just say I'm American, Haitian
Sure.
American. But um, if you're feeling called to keep those roots, then you can. I'm sure there's ways, especially with the internet, you can find how to make certain foods
Yeah.
or certain clothing. But yes, I just say I'm American, Haitian, and I'm Haitian American. So, but yeah.
That's awesome. Again, very practical. And I love your suggestion of, hey, let's look up some recipes and make some meals
Hmm.
together. And then that's quality time. So
Yes.
you're celebrating heritage and you're learning something new and then you're spending time together. I think that's a really, really sweet and practical way. And I love your suggestion of movies and books. Books are
Hmm.
such a huge part. And so I'm thinking through, your story. What are you hoping for our parents who go out and they grab this book and they're reading it to their kids, whether they're foster kids, whether they have been adopted into the family? What are you hoping that this book will accomplish for them?
Well, what I said before is that they know that they are a part of a plan. Just because you're adopted or you look different doesn't matter. That this what there is purpose for you, and that Jesus has always had a plan for your life.
Mm, that's so good, Emmanuel. I want to ask the question because I know that we have families who struggle with kiddos who they're not celebrating that. They don't
Hmm.
celebrate their adoption. They might be angry. They might still really be deep in that grief process. How would you encourage those kids and those parents to love their kids well while they're walking through that period or that season of not celebrating the fact that they are adopted?
Wow, it's tough because that's not my situation at all.
Yeah.
But I would just tell them like you just keep praying and obviously maybe give them some space depending how old they are. But
Yeah.
if you none of that should be a problem if the beginning parts you did that right, like as an adopted parents.
Okay.
So so if you let them do anything just because they're adopted, that's you can't do that.
Mm,
But you just gotta find a balance, I guess. So
yeah. That's really
it's
good.
hard,
It
but
is. Yeah, because you're talking about, I think, providing structure and, like we talked about, welcoming family or welcoming kids into the rhythm of a new family. And I appreciate you saying that. You can't just let them run amok and even run
yes.
wild with negative thinking. You
Hmm.
have to intervene on their behalf, not because you're trying to force something on them, but because you're wanting better for them. So
Hmm.
I love you say that we pray and that we provide that balance of structure. And that's what we try to do on the show is give those little snippets episode by episode of ways that our parents can do that. So I just appreciate you
Yes.
backing me up on that, Emmanuel. That's
Oh,
helpful.
yes.
So I had said in the beginning when we were talking and introing you that you carry something in your heart where you just really feel like it is the most important thing for kids to understand about adoption. What is that?
Well, so basically, again, it's mainly like that you're part of his plan. Like you, sometimes for adopted, like for orphans around the world, they might not know that they have like a plan, but um, you just need to know that you were in his plan from the beginning, and that you do matter, no
Yeah.
matter what, like no matter where you come from.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
That's so good. I love that. Simple and deep truth
Mm-hmm.
right there. I love it.
Yes.
So, Emmanuel, our listening audience, there's a lot of us who have already become adoptive parents. Some of us are fostering. Some of us have the opportunity. Maybe adoption is on the horizon, whether through foster care or some of our families. They're dipping their toes in the water a little bit, and
Mm.
they're really praying through. They're feeling that call from the Lord to say yes to adoption, but there's a lot of fear associated with that. What would you say to those parents that are feeling called to adopt, but they haven't quite taken that step forward yet?
Wow. Okay. What I would say is obviously the number one is just keep praying and ask other parents that have adopted too, and then read books about what those process and those like, because there are plenty of books on parent about parents who did adopt. Some probably went well, some didn't,
Yeah.
and so it is a you're taking a big chance, and you're adding a huge, like you're adding another person into your family, and so you have to pray and hope that your siblings get along, and so it's a lot,
Yeah.
but it can be done right though. So
That's amazing. Now, you
mhm.
mentioned you were an only child. Was that biologically, and then you joined a family with siblings?
No, so well, yes, I joined a family with siblings. Yes, I
Okay.
have five siblings.
Okay. So, what was that like
Mhm.
adjusting to
Yeah.
sibling life?
Oh, yes. It was so fun. We had our summer days were catching snakes. We called it bee hunting, where we would squirt hornets, not the good bees, but hornets
Oh,
and wasps. Yes, we were like in charge. We would just do it for fun. But
oh
yes,
gosh.
we played soccer. We caught frogs. But yeah.
That's so amazing. I love that. And were you able just to feel an instant connection with your siblings? Was there ever conflict that your family had to navigate with everything, or was it just really a sweet relationship from the get-go?
It was a sweet relationship for me because, again, like I was more quiet, and I'm a peacemaker, so
Yeah.
right away, if anything, I don't like fights. I don't like, yes. So it was
That's
very easy for me.
I love that. What is the best thing that you feel like your adoptive parents have done for you since welcoming you into their family?
Yeah, first is they didn't make me know that like I was different.
Yeah.
Like I know that I am, but like they didn't make, like, that's, I think one of the biggest parts is don't let, I don't know if that's the right word, but just treat them the same. Just,
Yeah. I love
but
that.
yes.
That's so amazing. Oh my goodness, Emmanuel, this is amazing. And I love the message of your book as a whole. And listeners, I just want to kind of bring it together as we're talking about this, that God has a purpose and a plan for every child's life.
Mm-hmm.
And they have always been a part of God's plan, even
Mm-hmm.
if the child can't see it clearly. And I hope this encourages you. Emmanuel, do you have any? We'll close out our conversation today, and I want you to make sure that you share with our listeners how to get a copy of the book. And friends, I cannot encourage you enough to get a copy. It's beautifully written, it's precious. And now that you know the story behind it and you've had a chance to meet Emmanuel, I hope that motivates you even more. But do you have any closing words of encouragement for our families, just as this book goes out into the world and you're anticipating the impact that I know God already has in store?
Yes. Well, the first thing is I think schools, libraries, just because I've been contacting libraries, I think kids need books that go deeper. So
Yeah,
this book, it's not like your typical like red truck, blue truck. It's a deeper book,
I
but
love that.
I think the illustrations back it up with where it's a lot of fun. And I actually have a copy right here.
It's so precious.
But
I love it.
but yes, and so all of us need to know that there is a purpose, and that we, even I need to be reminded that sometimes. And so
Yeah,
yes, that when they read it, that they can find purpose, and that they know that there is a plan for them.
I love that. That's amazing. Okay, where are we sending everybody to get the book, Emmanuel? Because we got to go get it.
Yes, if you go on Amazon, it's on Amazon and anywhere, but Amazon is the main source. And yes, if you can go on Tyndale, that's my publisher. You can go there. Um, yes, just thank you for thank you for those who do choose to read this book. Hello, my name is Emmanuel.
Absolutely. Friends, I love his suggestion. So I want to encourage this. Maybe go pick up a copy for your family and then for your school library or for your church's library, if you have one, your church ministry,
Hmm.
something along those lines. Let's get this book spread far and wide. We need more resources like that. I was desperate for resources like this as a new adoptive mom over 10 years ago. And I'm so grateful that we have them now. And so I want to share about these far and wide wherever we get the opportunity. So, Emmanuel, it's been such a pleasure getting to know you, getting to hear your story. I'm so grateful for your willingness just to share your story. And I know that God's going to do big and great things through it. So, thank you so much for being my guest today.
Yes, and thank you for having me. It's been a blast.
Thank you so much for listening to Called to Love today. I love to hear from listeners, and so I would love to connect with you to hear your stories and answer your questions right here on the show. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram, send me a direct message, or send me an email at the link in today's show notes. I pray you have been encouraged by today's episode to walk in faith and continue to embrace your own call to love. Until next time, blessings, sweet friends.